Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned. Albino ranks every boss in Toy Story 2 Buzz Lightyear to the rescue from easiest to hardest. Why? Because it's a nostalgia game from my childhood and it took me like 2 hours to platinum yesterday. The PS5 version has the new emulator functionality where you can save states and rewind and stuff, which makes all those jumps where Buzz decides not to grab the ledge a lot less annoying, so I had a blast. Can you choose to just tank all these bosses and spam weaponry and use no skill because dying respawns you in the middle of the fight anyway? Yes, but I tried not to do that this time around so this video wouldn't be ass, starting from easiest and working our way to hardest. Number easiest, biplane. The easiest boss in Toy Story 2 is the biplane. I don't know why we need to know the sexuality of the plane. Looks like Disney's been woke for longer than we thought. Guess it'll be experiencing twice the rejection because it sucks and nobody would want to be with it. This plane will sort of half-assedly shoot in front of it regardless of if you're in its path or not. And all you have to do is charge up like 3 lasers and jump and hit it as it strafes by you. It's the quickest takedown of a plane I've seen since the last 5 that were in the news. Number 14, Tin Robot. Just tucker it out and then charge a laser at it. A lot of bosses in this game are only vulnerable for 1 instance of damage per window, so like, whether you do a normal laser or a charged laser, you only get 1 hit, and the HP the boss loses reflects the power of the laser. So yeah, charge the laser, unless you want to be running laps for 2 more minutes. You can't charge without firing first though, which is horrendous, so make sure your initial shot doesn't steal the damage by aiming it away from the dude and then holding square until it's time to bust. Number 13, Dinosaur. PS5 Toy Story has a couple trophies for beating bosses in specific ways or under certain conditions, so for this one I had to kill it without touching the green goo, which took a few tries because you get no walkable surface area and the dinosaur's flamethrower knocks you into next week. You can trigger the flamethrower on purpose though, and then just move to the side a little, and then do that back and forth until you perpendicular him to death. Number 12, Clown Top. I'm more interested in the Clown Bottom. There's a trophy for only spinning this dude, which is thematically on brand for a battle against a top. It plays out like a Beyblade duel where one of the Beyblades really is not into it. You just sit there and spin once when the Clown Top comes close and then lazily bat it away for a couple seconds. And even after 5 or 6 instances of this, the Clown Top is still like, ha 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 ha, I'm gonna get you, Buzz Lightyear. He laughs every time he takes damage. Then he explodes, just no awareness at all. Number 11, Jackhammer. You need the disc launcher to do damage to this boss, which is a special power-up weapon that's weaker than your charged laser and weaker than your green laser pickup, and has homing capabilities, but only sometimes. I should have left Mr. Potato Head's eye where I found it. Be prepared to run out of ammo and then wander the arena for minutes looking for a refill. I think it only spawns in literally 1 location, maybe 2, so stick to that corner. Otherwise all the Jackhammer does is be himself at you and follow you around, but he can't keep up with a light jog. Shoot a bit, run away, come back, shoot some more, and wonder why your laser wouldn't have sufficed here. Number 10, Zerg Kite. The only reason this boss is ahead of those other ones is because it spends so much time up in the air not letting you hit it. It dodges lasers all day long. Seems like every time I charge one it dodges automatically, and only my red lasers hit. I didn't experiment much with this boss. Maybe when it spins at you, you can spin it back like the Clown Top and have another heroin-induced Beyblade battle, but it mostly just annoyed me by staying out of reach, even though it wasn't that aggressive otherwise. Number 9, Giant Alien. This is actually my favorite boss in the game because it's the only one that feels appropriately grandiose. Functionally, it's just a mob spawner. Each time you shoot it, it opens a capsule of monsters in the Colosseum, and I get the overwhelming urge to say, "Monster points?" You can't do more damage to the boss until each encounter has been dealt with. Most of them are trash, but there's occasionally a big shield Gardner that you have to spin to win. Otherwise, just stay far enough away from the big dude so he doesn't just auto-punish you with a laser for getting too close. Once all the capsules are destroyed, you can just shoot the alien until it runs out of PP. Number 8, Prospector. I kinda didn't know where to put the Prospector, because while he technically attacks frequently and can therefore dish out actual damage, you can also just jump over his attack, get a quick spin, back off, and then jump over the next one and repeat until he's dead in like 20 seconds. Doing that, however, requires more skill and effort than most other bosses do, so it's like, well, he goes down faster, but I had to try harder to make it happen. Does that make him easier or harder? He's immune to lasers for no reason, so this is your only recourse. Oh well, I'm sure the placement of the Prospector in a Toy Story 2 boss ranking will be passionately argued for years to come. Number 7, Gunslinger. There's a trophy for only using charged lasers to kill the Gunslinger, so I'm focusing on that. The real obstacle in this fight is the narrowness of the arena. It's just an L shape with hardly any wiggle room, and the Gunslinger takes full advantage of that. You can still strafe him like the dinosaur though, just with a bit more of a concerted effort. What sucks is if you do get hit while charging a laser, it blows the charge, so you have to recharge it, and he shoots fast enough that you have to dodge another one or you'll lose that one too. Too bad there's no lock strafe mode. Ratchet and Clank would demolish this guy. Number 6, Buzz Lightyear Buggy. None of this is hard yet, that doesn't mean you're not getting hit. But also, you have to take into account the fact that we're playing Buzz Lightyear to the rescue. This isn't Elden Ring. Like, are we really bringing our A game to this? I spent a good amount of time failing to parry the missile the buggy launches periodically because your spin can reflect projectiles, but the missile likes to go behind your camera and hit you from unseen angles, so it's very good at making me look like a dumbass. The front of his little Mario Kart can also rapid-fire lasers, which is a quick kick on the nuts to any charging you're trying to do, so I decided regular lasers would be okay. There's also a green laser pickup very near the area before you fight this boss, and if I saw that beforehand, it would have greatly helped. Number 5, Slime Trash. This boss bucks the trends others have established by the goal being to rapid fire on him as much as possible. Laser damage doesn't matter, just as many damage instances in short succession as you can to get him to shrink back down into his garbage can before he pops back up again bigger than before. This fight can be over in short order if you just want to mash as hard as you can and take damage, but if you're trying to use 2% of your brain, you can stay at mid-range and use your spins to deflect his slime projectiles he does at regular intervals in between your mashing. You'll still probably get hit a bunch because the projectiles start from the same spot in front of him, and as he gets bigger that doesn't change. So he'll be swinging his ever gianter arms at you, and you'll think that the projectile starts closer to you than it actually does, like the opposite of a rearview mirror. Eventually he gets so big that his arms themselves can damage you if you're camping too close, but you want to stay at the close to mid-range because otherwise he just leaps around and regenerates faster than you can deal damage to him. I get that the evil toys are Zurg's minions or some nonsense, but did he do some kind of unholy ritual to animate a pile of sludge? This isn't like parts of broken toys brought back to life. There's chicken bones and shit in there. Are dog toys sentient too? Because that sounds like a nightmare. Number 4, Spider Gunrow. The developers were cooking with this boss. They loved it so much they actually gave it more than one attack. The Spider Gunrow floats around and chases you with not only a flamethrower but also webs that it spits out onto the battlefield that do contact damage if you touch them, even though there's nothing visually dangerous about them at all. They're not electrically charged or visibly poisonous. It's like if you tried to clear a spider web out of your basement or attic and it just killed you on the spot. The fans under the stage turn on sometimes and make you spin around in the air, so you have to use that time to retreat, and this is one of the only bosses in the game that kinda sorta feels like an actual boss. Number 3, the Blacksmith. Alright, personally I think it's a little bullshit to give this guy a homing shockwave that travels ever so slightly faster than you, while also making him immune to lasers, so you have to approach and spin him. The shockwave doesn't last a long time, so you can outrun it if you preemptively start booking it right before he slams, and you can jump towards the end of its lifespan to help avoid damage, but your spin can't reflect it, and your window of time to attack the boss before he spawns another one is very small. So you have to attack him, run in a semi-circular pattern to where the shockwave will disappear by the time you're close to the boss again, and then attack him again and repeat. The homing on it is tight too. That thing is magnetized to your ass. You can't shake it off by being tricky. And very unfortunately, this isn't even the last you'll see of the Blacksmith. Number 2, Emperor Zurg. Another boss where you pretty much have to resign yourself to being hit. Your HP is constant throughout the level, so I started this fight with a third of my battery, and it did not go great. Zurg also has to be spun, but he's a hoverer, so half the time you'll need the ultra spin to get up there and reach him while also doing damage. If he's hovering a little lower, you can do a regular spin jump by pressing circle immediately followed by X, so your spin still lasts at the top of your jump and can hit him, but he'll also dodge away sometimes. While all this is going on, he will constantly be shooting tennis balls at you, and the green ones bounce off the walls toward your position and can be reflected, but it's hard because it usually happens off camera if you're focused on the boss, like the missile from the buggy fight. They just flank you. Ultra spin auto deflects projectiles, but when you're dizzy afterwards, you're basically begging to be punished for it, so you can either try to be super mindful and precise with regular spins and deflections to avoid damage, or what your instincts will tell you to do is just keep charging your spin and leaping at the boss Unga Bunga style while tanking whatever hits come your way. It's not like this is a real game anyway. Nobody's like, oh, you burned a life on Emperor Zurg? You fucking suck, dude. Engage with the gameplay mechanics, you coward. They're actually really deep. Number 1, Triple Team. Did you love the Gunslinger, Prospector, and Blacksmith bosses? Well, you're in luck because they've all teamed up against you and it's very annoying. Let's pretend, for effect, that you're not just gonna rush in there and spin around like a lunatic and toss a couple excess lives just to get this awful shit over with. Should you do that? Absolutely. But for effect, let's pretend you're trying to beat this fight without dying, which I very nearly managed to do on my first try, but I got hit too much in the beginning. The first thing you should do is run backwards so you're out of range of the Blacksmith, and then focus fire on the Gunslinger because he's the only one you can shoot to death. The Blacksmith doesn't really move, so by doing this you're also baiting out the Prospector, so when it's time to spin him to death, in the same way you did during his own boss fight, you can do that without shockwavy interruptions. That'll just leave the Blacksmith, who was enough of an asshole by himself, but at least you only had to deal with him as such. Toy Story 2 is on PS Plus if you feel like reliving any of this yourself. Otherwise, that's going to do it for this ranking. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Watch all my other videos until you get dizzy and hit with a tennis ball, and I'll see you guys next time.